Hi, I'm Marquise.
And this is your one and only your favorite Taylor.
And welcome to the You Stuck With Me podcast.
You stuck with me.
In this podcast, you get to learn about our relationship, the ins and outs, and everything that happens in between.
Basically went through the sickness and the health, and almost death do us part before we said I do.
And she's stuck with me, I'm stuck with her, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And now y'all stuck with us.
Episode starts right now.
War. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Yeah. War. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. War.
Oh, hell no.
Listen to me now.
Stewardess, give me another seat.
War.
Stewardess! Yo, it's your boy Marquise.
And this is your one and only your favorite Taylor.
And welcome back to the You Stuck With Me podcast, y'all.
You stuck with me.
First of all, I want to give out a shout out to Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan for that one because that will always be hilarious.
Is it war?
War.
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 Man, you sound like a karate movie. It's war.
Y'all.
Y'all.
Yeah.
You got to say it from your diaphragm. Y'all.
Y'all.
So, in this episode,
seen that movie too many times.
Way too many times. So, in this episode, we're talking about a serious topic, but we wanted to just make it happy some way, shape, or form. So, for everybody who has seen the news the last couple of days,
it's been emotional warfare. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
And social media, y'all are on 10.
Man, look, because I done seen so many different feelings and perspectives. It's just crazy.
I even seen somebody at work getting their feelings.
It's wild, but look, we're talking about what happened to Charlie Kirk out there in Utah. He was gunned down by a sniper, and he died just from one shot, and the shooter shot him in the neck. Died
and
on
then
impact.
there's some rumors. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently they found who did it, and he killed himself.
No,
I've been reading that. I don't know how true that is.
So no, they did find him, but he didn't kill himself. Actually, with the help of his father, he actually turned himself in.
Okay.
So I forgot the young man's name, but he's 22 years old, and so this whole thing gets crazier and crazier as you keep watching it. So, for everyone who doesn't know, Charlie Kirk, he was one of the hugest Republican supporters. He was supporting everything that they did, from MAGA to the getting rid of DEI, and you name the Republicans did it, he was all for it. He had some very controversial statements, including saying that George Floyd was a scumbag, and he was also saying that blacks would be better off back in slavery. And this guy, like I said, this guy is 31. He had 2 children and he had a wife, and he was from Wheeling, Illinois. So that part shocked me. There's so many people here who are more progressive than they are, conservative. And it's just like the last 48 hours since this happened, it's just been think piece after think piece on social media, on news coverages.
Can we talk about how this happened before the anniversary of 9/11?
Yeah, I mean, 9/11 is 24 years since 9/11. So we always got to remember.
Oh, good God. I remember where I was and what grade and what age I was when 9/11 happened.
I remember, too, because it's one of those huge national tragedies that will forever be ingrained in your mind because you remember exactly where you were.
Let me tell y'all something, and I ain't even trying to be funny with it. First, hey, Steve.
Hey, y'all. How you doing?
Hi,
Hey,
Steve.
So let me tell y'all how bogus my school was about telling us about this. I could kind of laugh at it now, but it's still not a funny thing. So to make a long story short, when they first told us about 9/11, they told us it was happening in Chicago. Downtown Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting up there young with my little curls popping and going on. I'm crying talking about my mommy works downtown. She's not coming home. I was like crying real tears until I came home, and then she was like, "Snick, I am okay."
Shoot, I remember where I was. I was seventh grade at the time, and the if you guys remember, sometimes you had the TV that sat on the top of like the
Oh, that's how you knew that you wasn't gonna do no work in
exactly. So,
school.
but the thing about it is we actually we were watching something the day prior, so that's why it was still in our classroom.
Mm.
So I remember over the intercom, the principal was like, "Teachers, turn on your TV to local news station for important news break." So she plugs up the TV. She's initially like looking crazy, like what's going on. She plugs up the TV, turns to the news, and all we see is one of the towers in New York on fire.
Oof.
And then shortly after, we saw the second plane slam into the other tower,
Oof.
and we were like glued to the TV the entire day. We did not do any schoolwork because we're watching this all happen in real time. And then you hear about the plane crash in Pennsylvania, and then you hear about the plane that struck the Pentagon, and they're just showing everything after a while simultaneously. It's like, what is going on? And I'm freaking out too because my dad at the time, he worked downtown, so we didn't know. Nobody knew what was going on. We didn't know if they were gonna try to hit Chicago. They were gonna hit L.A. We had no idea.
Yeah, because they told us that they were in downtown, that it happened downtown. And I remember exactly. I was in fourth grade, and I had this teacher who used to always be making oatmeal in the classroom, smelling all maple, whatever.
Shoot, we had a teacher like that too. But it wasn't oatmeal. It was hot chocolate.
Oh, but yeah, and I think she first heard it on the radio for on her way to work on V103. And then that's when they start broadcasting on the news. And then what they did was for preschool, I want to say to like second or third grade, they didn't really tell them what was going on. But for us, like fourth and older, they had us like gather around
Like we,
and pray, because I was in a Lutheran school system at the time. They had us pray, and they just explained what's going on. I'm freaking out because they telling us it's going on downtown. I'm like, I hope my mommy's okay.
I was hoping my dad was okay too. I got home and me and my mom, no, me and my brother was like, "Mom, did you see what happened?" She's like, "Yeah, I saw what happened." Initially, I thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
That wasn't no movie, but we want to send our prayers to the families of the victims of 9/11. Um, it was it was close to 3,000 people who lost their lives in that one incident alone. Not just New York, but
And I
Pentagon, Pennsylvania
remember,
too.
and I remember some of the victims. They would, because it really hit home, because it was like what, three children.
On the plane in Pennsylvania, yeah, one was like
I
a
thought they was in New York. Maybe I know they was like really smart, and they was like on a special educational trip with the principal and their teachers or whatever, and then they didn't make it, and they was like about 11,
hmm
and I was like, man, that is so sad.
Yeah, but like I was saying, we just want to offer our prayers and condolences to the families who lost people on 9/11.
And
And
then we send our prayers to those who survived, because there
yeah,
are
there are
still some
survivors.
survivors there, and we continue to send our love and prayers to you all, because we know how traumatic that can be.
Yeah, but to get to the
Well,
subject,
first, Steve, do you remember where you was at?
yeah, I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, remember where was that when
During
9/11?
9/11, I was at Lincoln Primary. I was in maybe third grade, and they just rushed us into the basement. I remember the rollout TV. We watched it for a little while, and then they were like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't just be sitting in class watching this. Let's go hide. So then they ran us to the basement, and we sat in the basement.
So where was your school? Was it on the west side?
It wasn't in the city. It was like 10 minutes from here.
Okay, I see why, because we were on the far south side. So
Yeah. So I was nowhere near the city. But for whatever reason, they made us evacuate. Not evacuate, but go into the basement. And I don't remember being scared. Yeah, I wasn't scared. I didn't even know what the hell was happening. Y'all were a little older, so it
Yeah.
was probably easier. And then like I couldn't even process what was going on. I'm like, okay. In fact, I was probably like a little bit of a bad kid, so I probably thought it was funny or something. I don't know. Yeah, I probably laughed or like was happy or something ridiculous a kid would think. Like
mm,
it didn't seem serious. It didn't seem like like a timeline altering event. Like it didn't really seem like that. It just seemed like, oh well, I get to leave class. This is awesome, and that was it.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like I said, with our school, they left like preschool to third graders leaving whatever they were at, and then they brought all the older kids together and just had us watch it. So I get it.
but yeah, after that day, life was never the same.
Side note, before we go into the other one, do y'all realize that we lived through a historical event that now the younger generation and generations up under us are reading in history books?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel old as heck. I do. Ooh.
But yeah, 9/11, and then this happened with Charlie Kirk. Now, I didn't know, when it first happened, I didn't know exactly how to feel. And the reason why is because, you know, all the things that we go through as black people, and to see someone who has been basically spending their entire life, degrading us and making us feel like we are not human, for that to happen to him, I was battling with my emotions, because of course I felt bad for his kids, because
Mm-hmm.
I think they were 4 and 2, so there's that. His wife, I don't know much about her wife, so I can't speak on that, but I was battling with a whole different types of emotions, because on the other hand, on one hand, this is a guy, like I said, has just been everything the Republican Party or MAGA was saying. He was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then on the other hand, as a human, it's like, dang, somebody sniped him down in one shot, and it's like, do you feel empathy? Do you feel sorry for him? And just a lot of different emotions and thoughts that were going through my mind.
I mean, I'm gonna first of all, cause I gotta put this disclaimer out there: the thoughts and feelings that are expressed here are the thoughts and feelings of us. We're not trying to persuade anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to cause any division. It's just a matter of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Take it how you want it, but don't take it for what's the word I'm looking for?
Don't try to make anything negative out of it. I think that's what you're trying to say.
No, don't take it as like as
As a
concrete.
prescription.
Thank you. As what this is what you should feel, this is what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And I've been saying this amongst some of my friends in our text group, stuff like that. Honestly, I feel bad because that he basically got assassinated in front of a whole bunch of people.
That's
He did.
traumatizing in itself.
That's traumatizing in itself, okay? And then speaking from somebody who actually witnessed, and you can test this too, speaking from someone who actually seen somebody get shot and then know that they did not make it on the other side of that, that's traumatizing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But again, I've been saying that I feel bad that he went out the way he did. Nobody, I don't care if we have different opinions or we agree, skin color, whatever, if we different. Nobody deserves the right to die in the hands of another human. That's just how I feel.
I mean, especially since I didn't see the full video. I would always see it, and they would just stop right before the show.
Unfortunately, you know how
Social media
Facebook is and so other social media platforms. Somebody found the video and it's been circulating around. So unfortunately, I've actually seen the whole video uncut, and yeah,
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying.
I believe it. I don't need to see it. Just
Don't watch it. It's
Don't.
not burned into my memory, and I wish I never watched it.
I wish I never watched it too, because it was just like, why?
But and this is why this episode we're talking about political violence and the things that it causes people to do, because as we've seen, and not just before this, but if you could look back through history, the murder or the assassination of someone who's speaking their truth,
Their form of the truth.
their form of the truth, and there's always someone on the other side who strongly disagrees and just can't take it. And we live in a society now where everybody's on edge, just because we're still, to the degree, coming out of the pandemic. The administration is doing everything they can to destroy our legacies, and they're doing everything to dumb the dumb the country, getting rid of the Department of Education, getting rid of stuff like the Smithsonian, uh, in the African American Museum. So the smallest thing that you say can tick somebody off
Yeah,
right over the edge.
yeah. And this is a prime example of it. But I mean, again, and I feel like these situations are bringing out the side of people that we hear about, but then we actually getting ready to see. Because this is the most I ever seen as
Mm-hmm.
a society of different races, gender, whatever the case may be. That there's one side of people that's rejoicing a death of somebody being assassinated, and the other half is like, oh, I feel bad, but I mean, it is what it is. Like,
I mean, part of me thought like, okay, you put out the energy that you put out is what you're gonna get back. So if you're cool with telling people that black people were better off back in slavery, and he was really big with the NRA and guns and stuff, and he was taken out by one. But the crazy thing that I found out about this is the shooter is also Republican.
mm,
But you also got to remember that
be your own people, huh?
I was, to a degree, and the reason why I say this is it's just like this on both sides of the aisle. There are different iterations of Republicans. There are different iterations of Democrats. And there are different iterations of independents. I mean, you have some people who are like full on Republican, full on Democrat. Then you got those people in the middle, and then you have those people who are closest to the opposite end of the party. So, from what I've been seeing about the shooter, uh, on the bullet casing, uh, on the bullet cases that was still inside the gun, because obviously it was a sniper shot. It said, "Hey, fascists," like you throwing the ball or something, like, "Hey, fascists." That's how I interpreted it. And then he said something else on the other ones, but they censored it out, so it was something very bad.
Do you actually want to know what it said?
Yeah.
What did it say?
It said, if you're reading this, you are gay. Literally.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what it said.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
All on a bullet?
Yeah.
It was on the casing, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it just goes to show that our country needs to deal with this past racism, capitalism, all of that, because it all feeds into one vacuum, and it's making everybody not just feel on edge, but you can't even have a difference of opinion anymore. You can't even agree to disagree, because somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong.
I mean, I'll say this. I feel like our nation is under a moral attack.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And a moral and a spiritual attack. And that, I mean, I'm not trying to get too political in this episode, but is this, look who we have in the White House.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like when you running a business, or when like you're working for a team. A team is a reflection of their leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
and it's also said that the president is the moral compass of America. So apparently, the moral compass of America is way off.
yeah, and I guess that's how I feel with the whole situation. What happened with, what's his name, Charlie Kirk. Again, I'm not rejoicing that this man got assassinated, because that's really what happened. He got assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
And I sympathize with his wife and his kids, because I mean, your loved one is gone, right? But also at the same time too, and I had a friend who brought this to, who shared something on social media too. We seeing all these things about how Charlie Kirk is a martyr, and this, that, and the third.
But I would actually have to, I don't mean to cut you off, but I would actually have to agree with that statement, that this young man who shot him made him a martyr.
Right. But I understand that. But also too, at the same time, what is the difference in that? What happened to Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers?
Mm-hmm. Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
All of them were trying to push civil rights for black people. All of them
pushing
were
civil
murdered.
rights in their form of the truth,
And
and
all of
then
them were murdered.
a lot of people didn't agree with that,
Mm-hmm.
so they were taken out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna say that.
And I'm glad you brought that part up because it's something else I want to transition into. I want to know, so because of everything that happened with Mr. Kirk, there have been fake fake threats put out against HBCUs.
Oh Lord.
And I'm asking the same question that a lot of people are asking. Yes, Charlie Kirk was killed by a fellow Republican. What does that have to do with us?
I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, the way I see it, it's like history repeating itself. It's the same thing. What uh happened with during the civil rights movement? Remember, there were calls and stuff made to these prominent historical figures. They had calls saying, hey, nigger, if you come around,
You're gonna do X, Y,
we're
Z.
gonna do X, Y, and Z. And I think if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened to the church bombing that happened. What was that?
Birmingham church bombing,
Yeah,
63.
with the 4 little girls. So yeah.
And it's like, and you have all these fake bomb threats to HBCUs. It's like this literally had nothing to do with us. That when you went through the crowd looking at all the students who were there at Utah, I think it's called Utah University, Utah Valley University.
Something like that.
There was not a single black person in the crowd
That we saw.
that we
I
saw.
do want to say, I want to play devil's advocate a little bit. The devil don't need an advocate, but I do want to say, like, with the whole HBCU thing, obviously I wouldn't justify it in any way whatsoever, but I think that it would come from the fact that there's a lot of, this is my guess, so just take it with a grain of salt, but there's a lot of, like, sentiment from black people that's like, oh, he's white and it doesn't matter that he died, that he got assassinated, he's evil, hateful, etc. So that's why they would get targeted. That's my guess. That's all I was.
I mean,
And
it
I was
makes
thinking
sense.
that too, because and I wanted to touch on that too, because it's a lot, well, a good number of black people, that said, well, he was racist anyway. He was talking about basically black people ain't this. George Floyd was a scumbag and stuff like that. Good riddance. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
And that was one of the things that I was, when I was trying to figure out how I felt about it, I was battling with, because on one hand, I want to say, okay, he got what was coming to him. He was spewing hate, and then somebody got him because they were spewing hate. That's on one hand, but on the other, I'm like, nobody should die like that.
And then I admit I thought about that. I'm like, I never want to say that somebody died because they deserved it. That's just my own personal moral, right?
Okay, I can see
but
that.
also at the same time too, I say this again. I feel bad for his family in terms of loved one, but I'm not I'm not about to go to this man's service cry over his casket type of deal, because I mean, he spewed hate. And if you're not familiar with Mr. Kirk, I would say Google, do your research. And then also too, I was done with him after the whole mass shooting thing he was talking about, because I'm like, how dare you?
And I think that, first of all, I agree with you in that sentiment, because we were victims of a mass shooting. If you guys didn't know, if this is your first time tuning in, but we've discussed that before. We're not going to get into it now, but it's ironic that because at the time that he was answering questions, he was answering a question on mass shooting, and then Lord behold, a bullet took him out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then I just been seeing a lot of interesting things. Like I've seen somebody talk about how he was one of the few people that actually referenced the Bible and what he was saying and used it correctly. I'm like, oh.
That I've heard that too, but that's hearsay unless it's like recorded and it's out there.
That one's not hard. I will step in on that one. So Charlie Kirk, I wouldn't necessarily say I was a fan, but what I did like was when he would have religious rebuttals. So he would go into campuses and use religious rhetoric, the Bible, the word, I would say it's sad that he had political stances that people weren't happy with because it waters down his faith. That's basically what I think. Because he was a devout Christian. Like you can watch his content. Most of what's going to be pushed now is going to be the political stuff, but the primary thing he was doing was pushing Christian values. So, and then also to the point of him being racist, I don't necessarily think Charlie Kirk was racist. I think he just had like misguided political views. I think he wanted the best for all people, but he had a different way of approaching it than most people would probably respect. That's my opinion.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I find that hard to believe. But from a guy who said that George Floyd was a scumbag and that black people were better off as slaves, that's hard for me to wrap my head around.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily make him racist.
Or I mean,
the black people better off as slaves part. I mean, if you look into the argument, I'm not going to break down that argument. I'm not going to do it.
I'm like, we don't need to break it down.
I mean, I'm right now. I mean, I'm taking it for what he said, and that's what he said.
Yeah.
But see, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I feel you.
Oh, but you see how we can, all three of us could sit here and have like a civilized discussion about opinions and stuff like that. And y'all not about to duke it out or nothing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if y'all did, I wouldn't allow that stuff. So, but it just brings to what part of the reason why we wanted to talk about this, like having like that healthy discussion of differences of opinion that don't lead into political violence like this, like such as getting assassinated or even beat up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's them. I feel like those times are gone at this point.
Yeah, I think like if Charlie Kirk was allowed to mature a little bit, then he probably would have been a good guy. Like if he was given some time to mature in his opinions, then it probably would have worked out fine. But now he's dead, so it's not really an option.
And I think that first of all, people are entitled to the way they feel about it, so we're not going to just dismiss anybody's opinions or feelings about it. But when you really break it down to its simplest form, actions have consequences. And now we live in a hypersensitive society where you can say something to somebody over the internet, next thing you know, they pop up at your front door.
Yeah.
So real life issues have real life consequences.
It's like everything is like fight or flight now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just unfortunate. I'm just saying, it's just unfortunate that you can't have differences of opinion without worrying about getting hurt or harm caused to either yourself or to like those closest to you.
Agree. And you know what? I think, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think not only do we have a society that is ultra sensitive, but we have a society that is ultra prideful and ultra egotistical. Like, you don't agree with me, you're the enemy, we're going to get you. Like, people make it cut and dry. It's possible to have a argument or a discussion. You can have your views and they can have their views, and you guys still can walk away saying, "Hey, we don't agree, but it is what it is." Like we were watching Amanda Seals when she debated 20 conservatives.
And I still haven't seen.
Okay, you haven't seen it, so I've seen it. So Steve, have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, so there were conservatives who actually tried to hear her side of the story or her side of what she was saying. And she also identified, she didn't say she was a Democrat, she said she was a radical. So that stopped that right there because people thought that she was going to just come with Democratic views. And it's like, no, I'm radical. This is what I think. This is the argument I'm presenting. Here go the stats. Some people didn't want to hear the stats because that would put a hole in their argument. But there were one or two, maybe three people who were actually there like, okay, I see where you're coming from. This is my spiel. And she would actually listen. And some of them just wanted to run off at the mouths and just, say what they want to say and think she was trying to get clickbait. One guy said that in particular. She's like, no, I'm not. But it goes to show you that at the end of the day, we all have our differences of opinion, but that doesn't mean that we got to hate each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, with the whole Charlie Kirk situation, it's okay to believe in your heart that he was racist. Like, we can disagree on that. I don't necessarily think he was a bad guy, but that's just a personal disagreement between us.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hate me because I think that, and you really don't have to even hate Charlie Kirk, right? You can think he's a bad guy, but you don't have to like have hatred in your heart for him to the point where you would kill him.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
the point that I want to make is like, I've just seen like from both sides of the political spectrum, I've just seen like some really disgusting, and it's like a mask off moment for a lot of people, like conservative, liberal. Like, you see the liberals talking about Charlie in just a disgusting way, and then you see the conservatives talking about those liberals in a disgusting way, like I'll kill you and stuff like that. Where it's like the humanity is just like
Gone.
completely dissolved, and it's really been eye opening. Like, I haven't seen anything like this since probably like the George Floyd incident. Really, like,
Yeah.
that was another instance where it's just like you're just seeing people just be just dramatically disgusting, and so many the dregs of social media, like just people just being gross.
So let me ask you this, because obviously racism has never left this country.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that what we're seeing now with everything from George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Charlie Kirk, do you think that this overt racism we're seeing now is the same overt racism that our grandparents and our great grandparents and in some cases even our parents saw?
Absolutely not. No, not even
Okay.
close.
I was about to say it's not even close.
Yeah, not even close. But you know what's funny? This maybe not funny, but I have a thing where I do a family podcast with my grandparents.
Mm.
I remember my cousin, he's like a black separatist, so he believes that whites and blacks should be separated.
Mm.
He asked my grandma, like, have you ever had like a negative experience where white people were like horribly racist to you? And she said, they've had like prejudice, right? Like they've like, not taken account of her in certain instances. She's 90 years old. But she literally said like, that's never happened to me. So like my representation of it in my mind, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. And I'm especially not saying that in the, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, that racism wasn't a thing. But I think that people's experience with racism varies from both sides. Like, you got the people that were white and they were extremely racist, but you also got the white people that weren't racist. You got the cops that were racist and you got the cops that weren't racist.
Mm-hmm.
You got the people that owned slaves, and then you got the people that didn't own slaves. And then you got their lineage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's never a good idea to use blanket statements to describe sensitive issues.
I agree.
I agree.
Because if I were to just say, oh, well, only 6% of white Americans own slaves, if I were to say something like that, then that's a blanket statement. It's like, yeah, that's 6%, but they had all the influence and power, right? So they contributed to the language that would be used about black people. They were the ones running the newspapers, running everything. But at the same time, you can say, well, only 6% of white Americans own slaves, so I guess 94% of white people were perfectly good. Like, no, they still benefited from slavery.
Mm-hmm.
But just using a blanket statement in either direction doesn't work, is what I'm trying to get across, basically.
I get it, because, and I was having this conversation with my father, and I was basically telling him that looking at all the situations and stuff that's been happening, just like we say that black people aren't a monolith,
Mm-hmm.
white people aren't a monolith either. Because you do have those white people who aren't racist, who completely get it, who, matter of fact, they will stick up.
They're anti-racist.
Exactly, they're anti-racist. Where you do have those white people who are racist, are bigots, and for the most part, they can't even tell you why they are.
Mm-hmm.
They just feel like that's what they're supposed to do.
Or can I also add too that in some instances that's just something that they're taught?
Agree with that.
Because when Steve was talking about experiences, the first thing I thought was, okay, what my grandmother, right? My grandmother used to tell me this story about an interaction she had with a white lady. It wasn't like she got beat or anything like that, but back in Jim Crow, department stores, they had their session for whites, they had their session for blacks, and she went to the store to buy an undergarment, and she had to try it on. So the white lady would see my grandmother try on this stuff and laugh at her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Poke fun and all that stuff, and being the confident and strong woman that my grandmother was. I mean, in my eyes, my grandma back in the day was like Sophia from The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you told Hartwell to beat me and she'll go tear some stuff up, right? But anyway, to make a long story short, she confronted that white lady like, who the F are you laughing at, or whatever like that. And just hearing stories like that, and with other older family members of my family who had those negative experiences, you know, I couldn't help at the time when I was younger, like, oh, have this connotation, like, okay, white people could be really bad. They could be racist. They don't give a damn about us. It didn't take until I got older and start, learning, like, okay, not everybody's experienced like that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, like I was just saying, just like black people aren't a monolith, white people aren't a
Yeah.
monolith. Latinos aren't a monolith. Asians are not a monolith. I mean, you have like as black people, we have those black people who get up, go to work. They they're beneficial to society. But then you have those black people who aren't beneficial, who are crime and just don't care and just doing everything, robbing, stealing, pillaging, all that stuff.
So yeah, so at that point, it's just you going by stereotypes.
Hmm. And unfortunately, we've had the worst stereotypes about us all throughout history.
And I mean, it's not just us. I mean, it's all races.
It's everybody.
Everybody.
No matter how you spin it, every race has a stereotype.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of the reason too why we're in this climate of political violence.
Hmm.
Like we see this, for example, Charlie Kirk. He says a statement, and it just brings back, like, oh, this is what black people had to deal with back in the day, and he's just like
Fan in the flame.
fan in the flame.
And I get why you say that, because not just not just him and other people making blanket statements like that, but we also have to deal with now social media, because
Yeah.
social media, you get everything at the drop of a dime.
And I think that makes it a little bit 10 times harder, because back then there wasn't no social media, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter.
All you had was the newspaper and the radio, and eventually
Yeah.
the TV.
Yeah.
I think the crazy thing though with the social media is that you get it at the drop of a dime, and it's never the full story. It's
Yeah.
just bits and pieces
Yeah.
trickled to you in the wrong order usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like when you see a video on social media, you see a 30-second clip, and people like to go watch a 30-second clip and then make a whole dissertation about it and still be wrong.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Who child? It's a lot.
So if you guys take anything from this conversation, one of the big things that we want to just say is that people are human. No matter how badly you feel about them or anything that they say, you still got to keep your humanity, because, like I said earlier, at the drop of a dime, you could say something on social media, and it may not be intended to somebody, but somebody might take it one way, and the next they're popping up looking at you, looking for you at your doorstep, or they see you driving down your car, and they decide that they want to do something to you, and that leads into another thing. Watch what you say and what you do on social media, because they have real life consequences.
Steve, you got any final thoughts?
I got a death threat on social media once.
What?
Yeah, I had said something about illegal immigrants, and then this dude I went to high school with was like, "I'm gonna come to your house and kill you." I'm like, "Wow, oh my god."
Oh, wow.
And it was like a really tame statement too, but he was just really upset. He was like he used to be my friend sort of, but
Friend of me.
he was like insane. He was like literally insane. So
Mm.
he's probably in jail now.
Oh.
Babe, what about you? Final take?
I just wish we bring humanity back. That's all. It's just disheartening to see people just be rejoicing over somebody's death.
Especially his gruesome public
Right.
assassination. Like,
Right.
It's different when everyone hasn't seen the video. I feel like not that
Yeah.
it's a good thing when you do
I
it.
wouldn't
but
want nobody to see that. I'm upset that we saw this video.
yeah, everyone saw it. Kids saw it.
Yeah.
People that should never have seen it saw it.
Yeah.
And it's not just people who saw the video. Think about the people who were actually
Who were
there and
actually
saw it
there.
happen.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the people who in the front row, he's like da da da. All of a sudden, he's falling over and bleeding. That's
Yeah.
traumatic.
Yeah.
We need to pray for our nation, y'all.
Yeah.
We need Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus, fix it.
No, not just fix it. Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus be a ballot box.
I'm gonna take it back even further. Jesus be a fence all around us every day.
Man, hey, I'm just saying, Jesus be a ballot box, a fence, take the wheel. Ugh. But he got us.
Yeah, he's got us. He's got us in the palm of his hands.
Yeah.
So on that note, beautiful, you want to tell the people where they can find us?
You can find us on excuse me, you can find us on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also you can listen to and you also could look at visual videos, past visual videos, including this one on YouTube. And you can hear us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Bae, you want to drop the handles?
Yes, so on Apple Podcasts, I'm sorry, not Apple Podcasts, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, you just type in "You Stuck With Me" _podcast. That is USTUCKWITME _podcast. And if you guys want to send us an email, we can read it live for you guys. Just send it to youstuckwithme@gmail.com. That is USTUCKWITME@gmail.com. You can find me personally on Instagram and TikTok as mine_1. Well, on TikTok, I'm doing the page, so it's You Stuck With Me _podcast. But on Instagram and an app formerly known as X, mine_1, M1NE_1.
You can find me on Instagram and an app formerly known as Twitter, known as X, under Queen Points. That is PO_NTZ. Again, that's Queen Points, PO_NTZ. And also, if you want some more behind the scenes stuff, beside from the TikTok page, you know, the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty of what we do as we prepare for this, you can follow me on TikTok under Queen Points 22. That's Queen Points 22. Steve, where can our cousins find you?
If you need a podcast or want to do anything podcast related, at Roots Recordings, and personal page is at Steve is Black.
I think that's very clever. I love it.
Yeah.
And y'all, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, like, and share.
Yes,
Because
yes,
once
yes.
you do that, it creates more opportunities for us to make more content for you.
Our podcast goes up in the algorithm, more people listen to it.
Here you go with the scientific stuff.
How's it scientific if it's truthful?
Because you use all them big words, algorithm and all that. Mr. Google.
Ooh, I use a school word.
On that note, y'all, hey, come back.
This is your boy Marquise.
And this is your one and only, your favorite Taylor.
And don't forget our good friend producer Steve.
Yep, that's me.
We out of here, y'all.
Hey, you stuck. You stuck with us.
We'll see y'all later.
Peace.